why Rango made people so mad. The only thing I know about this is that it's a cowboy film voiced by Johnny Depp. That's all I know.
Known as one of the biggest anomalies of the 2010s. It doesn't look or feel like anything else from its era.
It looks cool.
Motion capture is kind of emotion capture.
And the Oscar goes to Rango Gorbabinsky.
Really?
With its gritty animation,
You have to watch it
oddly
tonight?
existential humor, and offbeat tone, the movie is one of a kind.
Is it
But
that
the same
good?
things that made Rango stand out are also what made it so divisive when it first hit theaters. While critics praised its bold
Yeah, I heard everybody hated this when it came out, but now all I hear are glazers.
style, some parents were genuinely offended. Complaints poured in about the language, depictions of smoking, and the way it handled its spiritual themes. There
Man, I can't believe they spoke inappropriately and smoked in a Western film. This is unacceptable.
were calls for a stricter rating, and some even labeled the film sacrilegious.
Wake up, people. Satan is trying to reach your children at an early age. This is why so many people hate Christians, because of retards like this that make Christians look insane.
From the very beginning, Rango's development was unconventional. It wasn't some big corporate attempt to compete with Pixar and DreamWorks. The film was a near decade-long passion project where everything slowly fell into place. The idea for the movie first emerged in 2003 during a breakfast meeting between director Gore Verbinski, producer John B. Carls, and author David Shannon, who was best known for children's books like A Bad Case of Stripes and No David. They pitched an idea for a western about creatures in the desert, and while the premise was simple, it resonated with all three of them. Verbinski was eager to start working on the film. They had already drawn some concept art and written a short outline of their vision, but at the time he was already in the middle of directing Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, that's so
he
sick.
decided to hold off until he was done with the project.
The first three Pirates of the Caribbean movies are unfucking believably good. Probably one of my favorite trilogies. My favorite trilogy of all time is obviously Lord of the Rings. I don't think there will ever be a trilogy or even movies better than those ever made in history. I will glaze those movies until the end of the earth. They are fucking masterpieces, and I think change the entire direction of anything in the same genre forever. Fuck, my loser ass. Having all three of the Lord of the Rings video games on my fucking desk, bro. Sealed, by the way. Never touched by human hands. I wonder how much those go for. I'm very curious.
But Gore had no idea just how successful Pirates of the Caribbean would be, and after it ended up grossing over $600 million, they had to do more.
Damn.
He went on to direct the second and third Pirates films. By
Star Wars is better. I don't even remember watching Star Wars. Maybe I should go back and watch those three. Yeah, I think the last one I saw was like General Grievous, but I was like 8 years old. I don't remember shit about Star Wars.
2007, he had helped Disney create a billion-dollar franchise
Damn.
and gained extensive experience working with some of the top
Davy
VFX
Jones'
artists in
CG
the
was
industry.
crazy.
With that behind him, Gore Verbinski could revisit their rough idea from 4 years earlier, the one that would slowly take shape as Rango.
I think when you make sequels, the danger is you fall into a trap of the known, you know, and it was really good to get back to something that you don't know if you don't know what you're doing, kind of, in a way.
Very early on, they knew what kind of story they wanted to tell. A lizard on a journey of self-discovery. They just had to figure out what it would look like. The designers pitched an array of ideas, but there was one
Bro, these concept arts look fucking awesome. Damn, bro, that little fucking rat. This style is unbelievable.
sketch in particular that stood out. The way it was framed allowed the team to clearly visualize the film's tone and
So
aesthetic.
good.
A dry, gritty world that looked and felt like an old western. This helped lay the framework for every shot, set piece, and especially the characters. If they wanted to create an authentic vibe, the creatures had to look and act like their real-life
So
counterparts
cool.
to some extent. They chose a chameleon as the main protagonist.
Oh, that's That's what he
The obvious
is?
reason was that
Oh, I thought he was an iguana.
chameleons use camouflage to blend in, and blending in was central to the film's themes of personal identity. Additionally, the species was an aquatic chameleon, which meant it couldn't naturally survive in the desert, making him seem even more out of place. They also realized that chameleons move their eyes independently, which could be utilized to convey a wide range of different expressions. The mare character had to have been there for a long time, so tortoise immediately came to mind. They thought of a lizard that freezes up in a catatonic state like some lizards do, and desert rodents that burrow and emerge from the ground. The goal was to craft an
freaky.
ensemble of believable characters with realistic imperfections, where the audience could understand a lot about someone and their story just by looking at them. With the setting, it made sense that the town itself would be built from found objects,
I love that.
scraps and junk repurposed into buildings and structures. For the cast, Johnny Depp was the first to come on board. He had already expressed interest in the role when Verbinski pitched the idea to him during the
Dude, Jack Sparrow was one of the most convincing roles ever played by any actor. You got like Christian Bale playing Batman, Johnny Depp playing Jack Sparrow, dude, fucking Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man. Like, they are those characters. You know what I mean? Like, nobody will ever be able to play those characters better than them, in my humble opinion. Oh, yeah, Heath Ledger's Joker. Although, I will say, dude, Joaquin Phoenix, personally, I do prefer. Loved Heath Ledger's Joker. Joaquin Phoenix, for the first movie, unfucking believable. But different realities, different Jokers. Amazingly portrayed. Amazingly.
making of Pirates of the Caribbean 2, so when it came time to finally bring him on, it didn't take much convincing.
So what did he do to convince you to do it? What was the pitch?
You know what? He didn't even have to. You know, he didn't have to go through any song and dance, nothing. It was basically, he said, I got this idea of a lizard on an existential quest in epic Western. And I just said, okay, well, you know, I'm in. You know.
Gore, along with a small team of artists and designers, spent 16 months working out of a house in Pasadena, California,
Wow.
sketching out the film's plot. At the time, there was no guarantee it would even get made, but eventually Paramount Pictures stepped in and agreed to produce and distribute Rango under Nickelodeon Movies.
Wow.
The partnership effectively birthed a new studio called Paramount Animation. After years of planning and deliberation, production officially began in 2008. Even though it was animated, the team was determined to preserve that grounded, realistic
I just realized 2008 is 18 years ago, bro. What the fuck? Holy shit, bro. I was 14 when this shit started. What the hell?
feel in the final product, so they took a unique approach. Rather than using motion capture, they used traditional
I'm old.
keyframe-based CGI. But the actors weren't just recording their lines in booths. Verbinski had them perform the scenes together on a stage with props and costumes, acting everything out physically so the animators could capture the energy and realism of a live performance. The cast members noted that at times they felt ridiculous doing it.
Well, initially it felt ridiculous, you know what I mean? All the actors felt really stupid.
Plenty of animated movies used real footage for reference, but this was another level. It added extra costs and consumed more time, but Gore Verbinski simply didn't know any other way. Directing actors on a physical stage was what he was used to, and he wanted to stay within his comfort zone. But this commitment to realism, to making Rango feel like a true Western, was where some felt the film began pushing the boundaries a little too far. Rango drew heavy inspiration from classic movies like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Chinatown, and The Shakiest Gun in the West. It even included multiple direct references to those films, among many others.
You son of a... Just a dirty son of a...
In most movies from that era, especially westerns, characters were often seen smoking or drinking alcohol. Smoking reflected the historical
Yeah, because that's all you can fucking do. That and kill people, bro. There's only so many people you can kill.
presence of tobacco use in the Old West and its glamorization in Hollywood throughout the 20th century.
Not to mention, people used to think that smoking was healthy for you, so it was a different time.
The creators of Rango felt that a Western movie without characters smoking wouldn't feel authentic.
Agreed.
It was a key element of the Western aesthetic. Additionally, they realized that most of the audience members who would actually catch the references were adults, so they gradually leaned into mature jokes, stronger language, and subtle nods. As the release date approached, it became more and more clear that they weren't making a standard kids movie. The directors, writers, producers, and
Those are always the best films when the movie for kids is just a kids movie, but if you're older, there are little things that you'll notice that kids' brains can't possibly notice. Beautiful.
actors were
Love
all
it. Very
determined
smart
to
writing.
push the boundaries of what an animated film could be. And for better or worse, that's what they did.
You might say I'm from everywhere there's trouble brewing and hell waiting to be raised. You might say I'm what hell's already raised up. Name's Rango.
Damn!
Rango officially premiered in March 2011, and for
Damn!
the most part, critics were impressed. The movie had a distinct visual style with fluid animation, and while the story clearly drew from many
Dude, that reptile, that fucking snake looks hypnotic to me. The animation is unbelievable.
influences, it still felt fresh and inventive. It was funny, sincere, and by the end, genuinely inspirational.
I had such a great time watching this movie. It is not at all what I would expect from an animated film. It doesn't feel like an animated film to me.
Great Western. If you like Westerns, you will like Rango. In fact, you might just love it.
It's Governminski's best film.
This is probably the best CGI animation I have ever seen.
Each character
Wow.
stood out in their own way, brought to life by a stellar cast. Johnny Depp was especially praised as a perfect choice for the lead, often described as a chameleon for his ability to transform into vastly different roles. He was hilarious, yet also nailed the emotional beats perfectly. Rango was a breath of fresh air that actually had something to say. It even ended up winning the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature.
Someone asked me if this film was for kids, and I don't know, but it was certainly created by a bunch of grown-ups acting like children.
But while reviews were mostly
I love that.
positive, the acclaim wasn't unanimous. No one could deny that the film featured cutting-edge animation and standout performances, but many viewers took issue with its tone. Rango was rated PG, like many Pixar and DreamWorks titles. In the lead-up to its release, it was marketed as a family-friendly animated movie, but that wasn't exactly what audiences got. As reviews started pouring in,
It's like Kai Cenat's stream where he says that it's for kids, and then he's getting jerked off by a stripper in the background.
more and more parents were expressing their disappointment. They described it as having offensive language and suggestive comments.
I think it's completely fine to have offensive language in kid stuff, because everybody in the real world talks like that. Everywhere they go, they're gonna hear fuck, they're gonna hear shit. Just teach them to not say it. You know, it's like, what am I gonna say, that Markiplier is not good for kids because he says fuck sometimes? Who cares?
They
Who
use
cares?
several curse words, there's a lot of crude behavior, also splattered uses of mild sexual content, including a reference to lesbians that my 11-year-old picked right up on. This should have been rated higher because of the language and violence. I cringed every time I heard language I knew my 7-year-old would repeat for shock value. To have a movie masquerading as family-friendly that is not is offensive beyond belief.
Here come the Karens, guys.
Like all movie releases, some people's reactions were extreme, but even those who liked it were confused about who the film was for.
It's an animated movie, but it's not really for kids.
It's very adult. It is very adult.
It's definitely very
I don't.
adult.
I don't get like who the movie's made for.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it seems like all the jokes are for the parents.
This is not a kids film. Even though it's put out through like Nickelodeon and it's rated PG, it's not a children's film.
At the end of the day, the creators weren't trying to trick audiences into corrupting their children. Obviously, it was all in service of making something that fit their vision.
It's not G, you know. Right. It says parental guidance suggested. You know?
Yeah.
You should, as a parent, I think, and I'm a parent, you should, you know, use some guidance.
Still, a lot of the references and most of the jokes were directed at adults, and there were multiple scenes involving character deaths, as well as mentions of hanging and other forms of violence. The film didn't have the smooth, colorful corporate look.
I was watching R-rated movies when I was like 6 years old. I'm not gonna lie, bro. You know, like I was watching all that shit. It didn't fuck me up at all. I don't think showing people who are 10 or 11 death is that big of a deal, or smoking or shooting. You know, like it is also showing it in the most lighthearted fashion it possibly can be shown as, which is, you know, a cartoon, which is probably the best way to show it. You know what I mean? So like, it just sounds like these people are just a bunch of pussies
that families had come to expect. Instead, it was rough and dark, much like the Mojave Desert setting and the characters who inhabited it. But the mature language wasn't even the biggest complaint about Rango. Many parents and advocacy groups were shocked by just how much smoking appeared on screen. According to
fucking Western,
California, the Sacramento Anti-Smoking Organization, there were at least 60 instances of smoking in the film. The only other animated film to match Rango was 101 Dalmatians.
Oh yeah, and 101 Dalmatians to be rated R, right?
They went as far as labeling the movie a public health hazard.
Oh my
People
God.
believed that the creators were encouraging the use of tobacco and that it would lead kids into doing it themselves.
Oh
the
my
combined
God.
outrage of parents and organized.
I'm sorry, if your kid sees something on the TV like smoking and doesn't consult you about it, you know? I mean, that's kind of on you, man. Oh, I saw smoking on TV, so I'm going to go sprint to the store, buy a cigarette, and smoke the entire pack immediately. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of insane.
Sparked a collective campaign to get Rango an R rating.
To be fair, I've been doing tobacco since I was in 3rd grade.
Despite their efforts, the petitions had no effect, and the film retained its PG rating. Yet, it didn't stop there. The film also faced significant backlash from certain religious circles, not just for its language, death, smoking, or alcohol use, but for the story itself. On Rango's journey of self-discovery...
How did you start? I was really cold when I was in like 3rd grade, I think. I was told that if I wanted to warm up, I should put my hands in my pants and cup my balls because that would warm me up. And I said that wasn't warming me up enough. And so a family member gave me some dip and it did warm me up. And I didn't know it was bad for me. And then that family member kept on giving me dip. And I got very addicted to nicotine from a very early age. Yeah. So yeah, a little rough.
There are multiple mentions of a mythical gunslinger known as the Spirit of the West.
This is my quest. He waits for me.
What? Who?
The Spirit of the West, amigo.
Rango even has a spiritual encounter with the character near the end of the movie. The figure he meets is essentially a Clint Eastwood archetype, who appears as a quiet guide and mentor during Rango's lowest moment. He's referenced repeatedly throughout the film, with characters treating him as a godlike being. There's a scene where the animals gather around a fire, hold hands, and pray to him, ending with an amen.
Thank you, Spirit of the West. Amen.
Because of how the film frames this character, some online communities claimed it was mocking Christianity, many of which gave it a moral rating of offensive. Additionally, the townspeople placed their faith in the mayor, who manipulates the water scarcity to his...
It really is crazy how offended people can get over some very harmless shit, bro. It's actually insane.
Advantage, stating that if you control the water, you control everything. Some viewers interpreted this as a metaphor for religious leaders using faith to control people and maintain power.
Like, there's so many chronically online housewives who have nothing better to do, and so the way they get their frustration out is by being miserable, dumb, liberal cunts on the internet and make everybody else's life more difficult by merely just existing. It's so unbearable, these people.
In some spaces, the movie became a target of moral panic, with claims that it was going to corrupt children. The movie is spiritual, but worships the wrong god, the Spirit of the West, who actually appears in man form near the end of the movie. Many references to the way we worship Jesus, God, are used to worship this false god, with amen and hallelujah used frequently. I felt this movie has the potential to plant a seed in young causing viewers to associate religious leaders with the mayor, since they have used so many religious buzzwords with him, and possibly cause the kids to have a bad feeling about religion and its leaders, and that they may feel silly and stupid for believing in a fairy tale like that, because the ending does not glorify God, but rather sums it all up that spirituality is a hoax.
To be completely fair, I can understand a lot of Christians hating another film with spirituality being perceived as a hoax, because I'll be honest, like in that time period of like the 1990s or the 2020s, almost every single bad guy, every single time religion is put into a video game or is put into an anime or is put into a show, they're almost always the bad guys. Legitimately, like even in games like Metaphor Refantasio, amazing game. The Church of the bad guys. Fire Emblem, the Church of the bad guys. Like every single time religion is put into something, they're using this to manipulate you and get you to do their bidding. It's like, when was the last time that the religious people were actually the good guys? It's so fucking rare. Right, so I can understand why people do get a little bit touchy about this subject, because it's been vilified for so long.
Characters that have been identified as stupid, ugly looking.
And I will say, I believe our nation of the United States functions better with Christianity at its forefront as a way to guide people and how to properly integrate into our society and what it means to be a good, righteous person. I believe Christianity is an amazing effect on this world, even more so the United States of America. And I believe it's a very good thing to teach your children as well as to learn from to become a better person, in my humble opinion.
And just plain turn your stomach are shown praying and doing activities associated with Christianity. This movie by Nickelodeon seemed to be yet another subversive attack on religion, specifically Christianity, with impressionable children as the target audience. The reptile hero stands as a non-believer's version of Christ, a nobody coming from nowhere who creates his identity, making it up as he goes along. The mayor tells him everyone needs something to believe in. Right now they believe in you. The concept here is that faith is a good thing, but has nothing to do with reality or truth. Sexual talk, violence, murder, lies, profanity, references to the pit, praying to a spirit and not God. Wake up, people, Satan is trying to reach your children at an early age. As a Christian parent, I have to strongly recommend you keep your children from this movie. Most of the concerns people had were pretty over the top, and the creators of Rango had no malicious intent behind the film. There's always going to be parents that overanalyze movies, but Rango did provide them with plenty of ammo to fuel their interpretations. It's darker, more vulgar, and bleaker than most animated movies, even by today's standards. But there are millions of people who watched it when they were young and loved it. Maybe it should have received a higher suitability rating, or maybe it should have been marketed differently. Regardless, the filmmakers made the movie they wanted to make, and to this day, there's nothing quite like it.
Well, you know what? I'm going to watch this movie over the next week or so. It looks really good, and I'll let you guys know if it gets me to hate Christians. I guess we'll find out together.